You're trespassing now. If you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser. Louis Vuitton are responsible for the murder of cows, sheep, goats, foxes, minks, ducks, and geese. Louis Vuitton have blood on their hands, and so do you if you're not vegan.
I know you all thought that vegan teacher, Miss Katie, was probably the most outlandish, insane vegan activist on the internet. And although she has an incredible track record of absurd opinions and outrageous feats, like harassing Uber drivers.
Did you know that in the dairy industry, like with the baby cows, like in the dairy industry, every time you drink milk, that they take the baby cows away from the mothers?
Belittling sexual assault survivors.
If you don't like the fact that you were pinned down and assaulted, why do you pay people to do this to other females?
Oh, and comparing child endangerment to eating meat.
If this had been somebody covered in sauce, the child would have had the same reaction.
How could we forget about that one? But I'm here to tell you that vegan teacher is a fucking pushover in comparison to this lesser known activist by the name of Vegan Booty. Now, based on the stomach turning evidence I've accumulated, I'm inclined to put on the tinfoil condom and connect the dots left out by Miss Katie. It seems to me that Vegan Booty may have been the deranged supervillain sidekick that actually does all the dirty work, if you know what I mean, that Miss Katie was referring to in her recent video about throwing it back and spreading it out for the animals on OnlyFans. Currently, I have a plethora of evidence suggesting this, but the most important ones to consider is that 1, she has an OnlyFans. 2, she has posted several videos of her protesting with no clothes on. And 3, she literally goes by Vegan Booty. Like, I think that does it at that point. But anyway, let's actually talk about what's to come in today's video. And let me warn you now, bucket to pukin is definitely required. And if I had a BetterHelp sponsor or something along those lines, I'd probably recommend that too. Miss Vegan Booty had decided to let it all hang out one day and barged into a Louis Vuitton store covered in only her own period blood and a thong to protest wearing animal skin and blood, I guess. Now I'm gonna try my best to show y'all as much of this as I can without getting slapped in the dong with the demonetization hammer. So bear with me as Tash Peterson puts her bare vegan ass on full display for everyone to see.
Let's go.
So yeah, just like that, we got straight to the point. No reason to keep y'all waiting. There it is on full display. Obviously, I have it censored because YouTube will demonetize me otherwise. And I'm actually probably still at some risk of demonetization even for showing the video as it is with the, you know, the cover up, which I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, let's talk about that Vegan Booty. I mean, I think she actually just goes by Vegan Booty, but I feel like calling her that Vegan Booty is just, I don't know, that sounds funnier to me. So that's where I may refer to her as throughout this video. But her actual name is Tash Peterson. She is an Australian animal rights activist, as she likes to call herself. But the interesting thing is, which is something we'll explore probably in a later video, but she has actually been basically exiled from several different locations in Australia. So she's been exiled from her hometown, like the place where she actually lives. She cannot go there. And then she's also been banned from several supermarkets, stores, restaurants, and many other types of different places because she is an absolute lunatic of an activist. She goes out there, she spreads her cheeks and takes off her shirt and all that stuff and hoot and holler and all that good stuff. And somehow she also has a team that likes to do this stuff with her. So she's done a bunch of like topless protests and stuff like that where she holds up signs and be like, wearing clothes and wearing purses and stuff, that's murder, it's a Holocaust. You guys are vegan phobic and crazy, insane. Like, that vegan teacher is a nutcase too, right? But the thing is, that vegan teacher, I feel, is mostly just talk. You know, she's all bark and no bite for the most part. Like, yeah, she does a little bit of activism here and there. Yeah, she gets in people's fucking cars and bugs the shit out of them while they're just trying to do their job. And then she's mean as fuck to kids on the street. She does some interviews here and there. She meets up with people like Call Me Chris for some reason when they allow that to happen. Well, I guess they didn't meet up person, but she does try to do that, you know. But so she does get out there, okay? She does bring her activism to the real world and not just within the cyberspace, but not like this. Vegan Booty is a new tier of activism nutcase. She is absolutely clinically insane because she thinks some of these ridiculous stunts that she's been doing, I mean, gosh, she's tied herself to railings and stuff like that at like bullfighting competitions, which also I don't think that's a good thing. You know, I don't agree with that sort of stuff. So good on you to protest it, but at the same time, it's not really like she's going there like, hey, stop the bullfighting. She's like, hey, be vegan, to a bunch of people that probably couldn't care less about cows, so therefore they're not going to listen to you. But anyway, that's just a little bit of background about her, and you know, I'm really gonna unravel this crazy bitch more in the future. So, but let's talk about the topic at hand here. So she thinks it's a wise idea to, you know, strip basically naked to just a thong pretty much and cover the rest of her chest with her own period blood. Yeah, because that's an idea that crosses a sane person's mind, right? I'm sure everybody thinks, you know what, when I really need to get a point across, I think I'm gonna go out in public and just cover myself in period blood. That should really send a message that everybody can understand. Obviously that was her logic, and you know what, I get it, right? She's basically, it's a hint, you know, it's an innuendo. She's basically saying, hey guys, this is basically what you're doing. You're killing animals and you may as well be wearing their blood, you know, because you have blood all over you. Louis Vuitton has blood all over their stores. I'm just representing that. This is what you're doing. This is the harsh reality of what you're experiencing. Now obviously this is bonkers, right? This is public indecency. It's disgusting. It's something that children's poor little eyes should never see in their lifetime. So I don't know how she thought this was going to go over well. I'm pretty sure every single person in that store just thought to themselves, wow, what a crazy bitch, old dumbass bitch. You know, like, she's insane. She's a nutcase. Why would I want to be vegan? I want to be like her. See, that's the problem with like some of these vegan activists, and not all of you. I mean, the thing is, most people that are vegan also aren't activists because they understand that their dietary choices are their own and theirs alone. But there are some that are actually, that do try to preach some positive things about veganism, you know? And I'm gonna go ahead and say one positive thing myself, something that these insane, damn near terrorist protesters like that vegan teacher and Vegan Booty cannot do and actually say something positive and helpful. Yeah, being vegan is actually somewhat good for the world. Not if everybody goes vegan, but it, you know, reducing the amount of consumption of animal products that are not ethically sourced, that's a good thing. Not eating a lot of red meat might save you from developing cancer, heart disease, things like that. So the truth of the matter is, you know, there are some benefits to vegans existing in this world, and I think that's great. But the message that these lunatics are trying to pass off, not really getting through our thick carnivorous skulls, okay? And I don't think it ever will, because most people don't want to change their dietary choices as it is. And then when you have absolute lunatics trying to tell you that you have to, otherwise you're worse than Hitler, you're a murderer and a rapist, then people are going to be extremely turned off to the cause, to the change entirely. But let's resume.
If you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser. Louis Vuitton are responsible for the murder of cows, sheep, goats, foxes, minks, ducks, and geese. Louis Vuitton have blood on their hands, and so do you if you're not Watch Dominion on YouTube to see the truth. The blood is on your hands.
Thank you very much. That was very entertaining. Thank you very much.
You are an animal abuser if you're not vegan.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. If you are not vegan, then you are an animal abuser. With that being said, I suppose we should all proceed by changing how we eat. Put that fucking hot dog down, that hamburger, throw it in the trash, you know, and just go pick up a fucking piece of corn or some lettuce or some broccoli and just eat that, man. Like, I'm tired of being an animal abuser, you know? It's just not me anymore, you know? It's like, this video that I just watched, this protest, just really changed me. You know, like, I was in that store that day when she came in, and I just, God, after hearing those words and, you know, seeing those bloody boobs, I was like, God, she's a fucking lunatic. Yeah, no, this isn't gonna work. This won't work on anybody, okay? There's not a single person alive that has watched this video, saw your protest, and thought anything that I just said to themselves. I guarantee you that. If anything, they're probably like, yeah, I'm never going vegan. And also, I just want to know, why did you target Louis Vuitton? I mean, like, I get it. You're trying to protest the whole leather clothes making thing, but I feel like that's like one of the worst things to target as a vegan. For the most part, a lot of people are trying to just say that you shouldn't eat meat or whatever and stuff like that. And like, I get it. You should also not turn animals into clothing, I guess. But like, here's the thing, like, nature is nature, okay? Humans are a part of nature as well. We've developed intelligence. We developed tool usage. You know, that's our thing. You know, bipedal motion, you know, all that stuff, that went into our genetics and created us and created the ultimate survival machine, because nature is all about survival. Every being, every species is all about the survival of itself, okay? And then as humans, our intelligence stat just went way off the fucking charts, and that allowed us to use things differently, to create things that other animals could not. And of course, we're going to use that because that is a part of our nature. It'd be like being upset at a fucking tiger for using its fucking ability to stealthily move about the jungle and fucking assassinate their dinner for the night. You know, like, what the fuck? They're just using the tools that they have developed because of nature, right? Every species on this planet is going to do that. Now, again, I don't think it's great to not treat animals ethically, right? There are plenty of places, plenty of farms and whatever the fuck in the industry that do not treat animals well. And that sucks. That's awful. I fucking hate that with a passion. And if you were protesting shit like that, people would be on your side. If you were going to like those fucking farms that have been known to be hurtful and harmful and terrible to the fucking animals, people would be on your fucking side of you protesting out. There'd probably be people joining you like, hey, stop this. You know, this is evil. You know, you shouldn't be beating these animals and giving them terrible fucking lives and horrible living conditions. You know, that shit's awful, and that's really what you activists should be going after, because the truth is, going after the masses, especially in ways like this, is never going to get you anywhere. This tree ain't bearing no fruit. Okay, you're not fucking Jesus. You're not fucking God himself. You're not someone that can just change the minds and hearts of every single person on this planet. So why are you even trying? You have to know that your efforts are futile. If anything, they're working against you. All you're doing is creating hate and backlash that is really, really bad for your cause. People are going to be even less empathetic towards ethical treatment of animals and stuff like that because of people like you spreading this sort of shit. Like, I'd probably be a better vegan fucking vegan activist, animal rights activist than you as a non-vegan, and probably a lot of people that are also non-fucking vegan, and they still care about animals, and they still have empathy, and they still want animals to be treated well. But then we also still have to respect that the circle of life is the circle of life. If there were no goddamn carnivores in the world, then the herbivores would overpopulate, eat all the goddamn plants, and then starve to death. There'd be no plants because the herbivores ate them all, and there'd be no herbivores because they all fucking starved to death. The carnivores helped keep those populations in fucking check. You know, did you not listen to Mufasa when you watched The Lion King as a kid? Like, he explained it pretty goddamn well, okay? The plants, they photosynthesize, you know, they take in that sweet fucking sunlight and get a little bit of that water shit, and they mix that shit up and make sugar and stuff. They bear fruit, you know, whatever. And then the fucking antelope come by. The antelope, you know, they come hopping by, and they're like, oh, what's this little green fucking thing growing out of the ground? Let me munch on it. Ah, delicious, scrumptious, okay? Cool. And then the fucking carnivores, they show up and they kill the antelope. They eat the antelope, and then the carnivores die. And then their body, right, decomposes, and it gives nutrients and all that good shit to the soil. And then the plants can once again grow again for the circle of life. Pretty simple shit, honestly. Like, I think a third grader could have fucking explained that to you just as well. And it's like these crazy terrorist vegan activists just ignore that in its entirety. Like, no, stop eating animals. Okay, so you don't want life to exist. Because if we did that, life would simply cease to exist as we know it. Like, yeah, there'd still be things that still exist, but they wouldn't be the animals that you know and love today. All those deer and shit, probably gonna go extinct. Cows go extinct. Chickens probably go extinct. Humans probably go extinct. Because you just gotta think about like the whole, like, this is kind of like a butterfly effect kind of scenario. Where I know that's more about like time travel, but like you gotta think about how important like just bees are. For instance, bees are paramount to like the pollination of plants and stuff like that, which means they are paramount to the survival of herbivores. Because without bees and other pollinating insects like butterflies or whatever the fuck else also pollinates things, if they somehow die out because the circle of life gets disrupted, everything's fucked. Okay, now you don't have your fucking plants to eat anymore because they won't fucking grow. So if that's the kind of bleak fallout world that you want to live in, then yeah, keep spewing this fucking nonsense about how everybody needs to be vegan, because that's the sort of thing you would get out of you think every animal, every bug, every whatever the fuck on this planet needs to only eat plants. Well, the plants are fucked, man. Those poor plants. Imagine that. Plants want to live too. How about that? You know what I mean? You think there should be a plant genocide? Are you promoting plant genocide at this point? Just kill all the fucking plants? That's a bunch of bullshit, because they're living things too. And it's also been proven that plants experience some sort of distress when they're being fucking eaten. That's why there's plants that have measures in place to try to avoid being eaten, like having poisonous berries or like really hard shells on there. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to continue their life cycle as well, and everything that eats them also disrupts that. And doesn't that just suck too? But anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this up with basically her reaction to being kicked out of the Louis Vuitton, and we'll end it there.
You are contributing to a holocaust if you're not vegan. Louis Vuitton are responsible for the murder of cows, sheep, goats, crocodiles, snakes, minks, foxes, ducks, and geese.
Yo, just a quick intervention here, but how the fuck did she get this many women to not only support her ridiculous ideals, but then to also bust out the gat for everybody to see? Like, what the fuck? All these women out on the street in their fucking lingerie that I assume they didn't get from Louis Vuitton, but that's just probably the most impressive part of this whole thing.
It's just crazy to me that males can be topless in public with no issue at all. He's not arrested, he's not charged, no one says anything. But as soon as a woman does it, it's a huge big issue. She's sexualizing herself, she can be arrested or charged, you know, it's just absolute insanity. I can't believe that this is being used against me when I do my protest.
Okay, let me make a very, very important distinction here. It's one thing to go out in public and bounce around your boobies to protest. Okay, that's one thing. In a lot of places, a lot of progressive places, you can get away with that, you know? It's a fact. All right, you can get away with that in a lot of places. I believe there was like, I think it might have been Chicago. It might be somewhere else where they actually have like a topless bike ride or something like that. I don't know if it was Chicago. It might have been somewhere else. I remember seeing like an article about that or something, and that's perfectly acceptable even for the women to do it. I mean, didn't you hear of the whole free the nipple movement? I think you actually probably talked about that in one of your videos or something like that. So in a lot of cases, that's maybe not the root of the problem. In this particular case, I think the root of the problem is that you went into a Louis Vuitton, which is a private establishment, wearing no clothes basically at all except for a fucking thong, okay? And then you covered yourself in your own period blood, and you prance around the private establishment, by the way, disrupting business with your stupid fucking sign and your little megaphone or whatever, saying, oh, this is fucking Holocaust, is to fucking torture animals. That might be the reason why your protest just didn't really work out the way you wanted it to. I mean, who am I though? That's just the whole, that's the, you know, the tinfoil condom approach, I suppose. I mean, what do I know? I always be talking a bunch of fucking nonsense, but that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe button. Till next time.